This season, many MLS coaches have been relying heavily on their first-year players.
They've made a great contribution. Like any players in your first 11 or get the kind of minutes they've received, they've obviously been important factors. You know, this team last year, if I'm not mistaken, statistically gave up about 62, 63, 64 goals, whatever it is. And if we kind of eliminate the Dallas game, we probably have the best defensive record in the league. And the fact that two first-year players are part of your back four, it's pretty easy to conclude that they've been incredibly important towards our success.
He's one of my first names on the team sheet. He's a fantastic athlete. He knows the game. He gets the ball. He shifts the ball very, very well. He's got legs to get up and down. He goes box to box. I just think his intelligence, his decision making, and his awareness is what keeps him in the team.
Like Cummins, the other coaches have high praise for their rookies.
I've said this from the beginning that Chris is a very intelligent player, and he's been able to adapt very quickly to the game, the speed of the game, and understanding his role in different positions. And yet there's still a big upside to Chris.
Well, I think he's grown simply by learning from his mistakes and taking advantage of his playing time. And I think he's a kid with a good head on his shoulders. He learns, he listens, and I think that's a key, besides the fact he's got a lot of physical ability.
I had high expectations of him because I expected him to be successful. So nothing that's really surprised me or shocked me. It's what we expected when we drafted him. Although sometimes you're not sure if it's going to happen or not happen. So I guess the pleasant surprise has been it's turned out the way we hoped it would.
AJ's strongest attribute is clearly his brain. I mean, he's not gifted physically, although he is quick and runs pretty well. But he has a slight frame, but he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's a great competitor and a very aggressive player. Reads the game quite well.
The coaches also acknowledge that the players have made strides in their game since entering the professional ranks.
He's had Carl Robinson helping him all the way along, talking to him and explaining things to him. And I see Sammy as a young Carl Robinson. You know, when Carl was just starting out and working from there. And listen, if he keeps progressing and developing the way he's developing, then listen, he'll turn out to be even better than Carl Robinson.
He's improved in a lot of areas. His understanding how to play in the back line has improved. His passing has improved. So, you know, we're real optimistic that he's going to be a pretty good one.
I think when he first came in, he didn't really say a lot. He didn't, in the right way, have a go at people, about when people weren't getting tight enough and things like that. He's had a lot of work to do this year. We've conceded far too many shots on target, but he's grown into that. And you see him now, he's communicating a lot more. And again, I keep saying it, credit to Mike Toshack for working with him on that one and getting him to be a lot more vocal. And that's something, that the young lads have got to work at, and not to be embarrassed when they need to talk and they need to have a go at experienced players. They need to accept it, and sometimes the young kids might be right.
Chris is still finding his way and gaining confidence along the way, so I still expect a lot more out of Chris Pontius. I think it goes back to his intelligence and understanding situations, being able to adapt to different positions. He adapts so well, and having the intelligence to do that is going to give him a long career.
The transition wasn't smooth because it's a new position for him. However, after 3 or 4 consecutive games, you could see him starting to get into a rhythm. The one area where it's been a learning experience for sure is going forward and trying to be a player that could support the attack and at times overlap and get in the attacking third of the field. That's something that one would suspect he did very little in his previous 20 years of playing soccer. So it's a new experience for him, but I think he's done well.
He's improved with his finishing. He's definitely improved on his running without the ball, which is one of the things we talked about, because he always took people on with the ball but didn't run so much without it. He's definitely improved his running without the ball. He's improved his defensive awareness. He's improved his fitness, so he's really developed in a lot of areas, and he continues to grow.
However, there are still areas in which they could continue to improve.
Consistently over 90 minutes being tuned in, and that's something that I think you mature through as a young guy, and having that killer instinct in front of the goal. He's had, to his credit, he gets a lot of opportunities because he puts himself in good spots, and now it's just a matter of being tuned in enough to finish those opportunities off. And there's going to be high and lows through the season, and getting through those takes someone to be mentally tough
Listen, I think you say with every young lad, you know, with every player, that you've got to keep working technically, you know. So I talk about players doing three things: scoring goals, creating goals, and stopping goals. Sammy definitely stops goals, you know, and he needs to now come up with creating a few more goals. So maybe being a little bit more creative, if you like, in the middle of the park. Now I know he's a holding midfielder as such, and you ask him to keep it simple and things like that. But he's played in various positions for us. He's played wide and he's played at the top of a midfield three. So maybe coming up with a few more assists and probably popping up with the odd goal now and then. But I think Sammy can go box to box, you know. I do see him possibly as that holding midfielder, but it's a great asset to have, to be able to play wide, to be able to play in the centre, or to be able to play a little bit further up the field. And he's one of those players that can go box to box. You know, as he develops, as he grows, and then possibly, you know, that holding midfielder, just getting it and passing it and linking the play.
If there's one game that left us scratching our heads, it was the game at home against Colorado, where he had a difficult time. But you know, we still felt that this is a player with a lot of potential, and as we move forward, there was just considerable improvement, beginning with about Game 5, and a fabulous consistency to his game over the next 20 games. Obviously, there's been a bump or two in the road along the way, but one of the keys to Omar has been his consistency and the fact that he's, for the most part, gotten better each and every game.
You know, he still can get better on his fitness, still needs to get better on his overall finishing, but he's listening, he's learning every day, he's getting better every day.
Well, for sure, because of his physical stature, one would suspect that he didn't have a future as a center back, because AJ's 5'7", maybe 5'8" on a good day, but he's a player with a lot of good natural defensive instincts, and we wanted to try him as an outside back and see if he could adapt to that position. And in the early going, again, like Omar, with any young player, there were some mistakes along the way, but you could see his potential, and he again is a player who's improved each and every game.
You know, working with a goalkeeping coach, Tosh sits down with him every day. You know, they work on things he needs to work on. What you find with a lot of young keepers is they're going to go in, they're going to make mistakes, and what I won't do is criticise the lad and ball him out, if you like, in front of people. You know, he's one of those that if he makes a mistake, he knows why he's made a mistake. And what Tosh does, he sits down with him during the week and he works on that. You know, so he's been working a lot on his crossing, he's been working on his distribution and dealing with balls that are over the top. But as I said, you know, for a young lad, he's come in and he's been fantastic for us.
They're two players that listen to not only coaches, but they respect the older players on the team, the veteran type of players, and are very respectful of the kind of input they receive each and every day.
Next time on Rookie Life, Rookie Season Review.